You met your stepdads after they got married, so you didn't get to be in any weddings? You know what? I have never thought about that before. Not once, not ever. So backstory, my mother, after my biological father, has been married 3 times and had 1 domestic partner. I've been no contact for over 30 years. So the last domestic partner, who, by the way, died while living with her, and there's a handwritten will and all sorts of stuff that I've been digging into. I never met him because I wasn't a part of my mother's life at that point. The stepfather before him also died. Don't know anything about his will. Actually, didn't even occur to me to look. So I will be looking for that now that I think about it. And my eldest daughter was in a relationship with my mother at that time and feels that there was something suspicious. And I saw some messages between my eldest daughter and my mother. She showed them to me that I'm wondering about what happened with the way that he died. Yes, he was older. However, the way my mother was lying to my daughter about some things in there. And I'm not going to get into specifics because now that I'm thinking about going and looking at his will, and I just think I should leave it there for now. Then the husband before that, so oh my gosh, it's going to get confusing. So let me reverse the order. Well, no, I'll stay with the order. There's one I didn't meet because I wasn't in a relationship. There was one I met because my mother came on the scene 17 years into our no contact. And so I met that stepfather after they were married. And in that one, there's no reason that I would have met him before they got married because we were not in a relationship at the time that she married. So those 2, she gets a pass. I wasn't in her life. The other 2, now I'll go from the beginning. My first stepfather, she showed up with him at my grandparents' house where I was living at the time when I was around 8 or 9 years old. I guess I was 8 because I was 9 when we moved from Montreal to Miami. And my mother would just show up out of the blue. Like I never knew when she was coming, how long she was going to stay, if she was going to take me out for the day or my brother. I mean, we wouldn't see her for months on end. And that's part of the way that she, triangulated us and weaponized us against each other, creating that jealousy, that longing for her. She would take one of us and not the other, and vice versa. She comes on the scene and I'm upstairs and I can hear her voice and I can hear that people are in the fancy room, as I used to call it as a child, the parlor, the one with, it was 1973-ish, I guess, 76, 74-ish, maybe even 75 at the high end. And the furniture's wrapped and, in plastic. And, the only time that room was used were times of big events. My grandmother's bridge club or her mahjong club that she hosted once a month, and hostess with the mostess, and definitely not a teetotaler. She was actually an alcoholic. And so when I would hear voices from there, I would get excited because it meant I could go in there. And I love that room. That room had a piano. Sometimes I did sneak in there and play it when my grandparents were both away. We had a live-in housekeeper, and I don't think she ever told on me, but I didn't do it very often because I was afraid of getting her in trouble, actually. Not afraid of me getting in trouble. Of course not. Anywho, I hear my mother. And I have forgotten what a terrorizing individual she is for a split second. And that's how it always rolled out, because my drive for her, my mommy is here. I'm really excited. So I come down the stairs, not running, not like crazy, nothing like that. I come down the stairs and there she is at the landing that's before the parlor. And I see her and I see the look on her face. And then I remember, oh yeah, this might be bad. I don't know how this is going to go today. And I know somewhere it's going to go bad. I knew that there was never going to be a time at this point, or maybe I didn't know. I'm thinking about my little child brain. I think I always hoped that this would be the time that everything would go well. And part of me knew that there was never a time, well, I mean, I knew from past experience, there was never a visit that my mother came where I didn't get hurt by her in some way emotionally at a minimum, right? So anyway, I'm down the stairs, hands are on my shoulders, eye to eye, looking down, no hug, right? No affection. So already we're off to the start. And actually looking back, when she would come on the scene, there wasn't a hug, there wasn't affection. And yeah, I didn't even think about that till just now. There wasn't, I missed you, I love you, none of it. And I mean, months and months and months would go by. She looks me in the eye and she goes, your new daddy is in the parlor. And I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember her exact words. I do remember her exact instructions. That's different though. You're going to go in and sit down next to him on the couch and you're going to hold his hand and you're going to say, hi, daddy. And by the way, if you haven't watched Mommy Dearest, there's a scene where Joan Crawford does that to Christina Crawford, like almost verbatim. It's the craziest thing. You're going to shake his hand in that scenario. It was eerie to watch that. So if you haven't watched that movie and you have, well, if you're here, you probably have a parent like mine, watch that movie. It's bizarre. I clocked 15 different exact scenarios to my life. So tell me there's not a pattern of abuse here with narcissistic abuse. That's a coincidence. Anyway, getting back to it. I look at her. I'm a really shy child, like painfully shy. Is it any surprise? No, I'm afraid of my own shadow. I know that I am not a good kid. I know there's something wrong with me. I know my mother hates me. I know that bad things are happening to me, being done to me because I'm the bad one, right? I've been well trained, well groomed to believe that messaging. From the earliest memory that I have, I mean, one of my aunts, I remember when I was 4 years old, that Marnie's always been a liar. I mean, what vocabulary did I have that at 4 years old, I was already always a liar, right? So I knew my worth. There must be a better word for that. Anyway, I go in and I sit down next to my new daddy. And I inch my hand into his, and I do remember my heart beating, and I do remember like struggling to get the words out. And I whispered it to him, and I just said, hi, daddy, like really quietly. I didn't want to get too quiet. I want you to hear it on video. And he looked down at me and he smiled and he was so warm. And I was so desperate to be loved and cared for. Talk about pre-grooming a child to be abused. And I looked up at him and I felt like he was my daddy in that moment. And this is how my little brain worked. I must have forgotten myself. I don't even know why I said this. I looked at him and I said, Daddy, can you buy me a pony? Oh my gosh. It really breaks my heart for that little girl. And he laughed. Everyone laughed. Well, I don't know if my mother laughed. And from that point on, I became a daddy's girl for the first time in my life. My biological father had been out of my life since I was about 14 months old. And I only know that because of divorce documents and things that I saw. I saw him once when I was around 5. I was really fortunate. He was really fortunate. We had a really beautiful relationship in my upper 30s. We reunited and we were very close until he passed away. And so now this is my first experience in memory of being a daddy's girl. And he died while living with my mother when I was 12 years old, 2 weeks after my 12th birthday, in fact. And she set that ball in motion when I was 11. He was laying there dying when I got home from school. He actually, when he got to the hospital, he died 8 minutes after arrival. I have all the documents for it. The police didn't know I was in the house. I was never interviewed. My grandfather was her call instead of the ambulance. My half brother, my mother's son, is the one who forced her to call 911. And I have it all. So he died. And there's a dad's tab if you want more detail on that. And then 4 months after that, while I was at my aunt's house, the one who calls me the family liar, my mother calls and my aunt gives me the phone, and I pick up the phone, and I haven't begun to grieve my daddy, because I really don't believe he's dead. I just don't believe it. I had the reality. I couldn't imagine that he would leave me with her. It just didn't make sense. And I had nobody to talk to. And nobody was talking about it. It was like he never existed, which is my mother's perfect world. And incidentally, when I met him, my last name was changed to his last name. And I had just learned how to sign my library card. And I remember being so upset because Grundman has, much like 7 letters. It's my last name. How many letters does it have? And his last name had 11. And I remember like, oh my God, I'm never going to learn how to spell that. It's so funny, the things that impact us when we're children and that are important to us, and how innocent we are. Anyway, erasing the past is the specialty of narcissistic parents, and my mother falls into the category of sociopath and narcissist. 4 months after he died, I'm at my aunt's house. I'm getting ready to go away to summer camp. She hands me the phone, and my mother says, I got married. And now I'm like, oh, my dad is dead. Like, that's what jarred me into my grief, right? And she goes, meet your new dad, call him dad. Here, he's on the phone, and puts him on the phone. And he goes, you can call me Pop. And he goes, I know you had a dad. And I hear her in the background, no, she's going to call you dad. So I called him dad, and I felt so guilty and disloyal to my stepdad. I know better now. I'm not carrying those feelings with me anymore. I totally am in a different place. It's just that I don't talk about this very often. And it makes me really, really sad for little Marnie. And well, I miss him. I've missed him every day. And she got away with it. So this next stepfather, here I go off to sleepaway camp. I don't know who I'm coming back to. She's just married to him. He seems nice just by the fact that he said what he said about calling him Pop and everything. And he was nice. He wasn't, there were a few things about him that weren't okay, but not in terms of like, he never abused me. He was never an unsafe person for me. It's just that I'm not even going to get into it on this video. And if you want more, then ask me and I'll respond. Cause it's not really in my mind relevant to what we're talking about right now. Anyway, I didn't know who I'm coming back to. I didn't know what house I'm coming back to. Also, after my daddy died, my mother gave away the dog that he gave me for my birthday. And, she also gave away our family cat. I came home from school and they were gone. So weird to look back at. Oh, so that stepfather, he died of cancer. So are you doing the math here? 6 marriages. I'm counting the domestic partner as a marriage. 2 left through divorce. My own biological father told me that he was in the hospital for 2 weeks and felt that she had tried to poison him. And so 3 men died. Don't know why exactly. There was an autopsy on my stepfather, which showed an overdose of his diabetes medicine that he'd been taking forever and ever, right? And the police hadn't talked to me or anything like that. And I think an important point to mention in this is that my mother made sure that all 4 of them, even the one who died of cancer, was cremated. We're Jewish. We don't cremate. All of them were cremated. So yeah, I never thought about the weddings, I guess because I was so grateful to have a dad after I met them and after I interacted with them. And there were so many other things for me to worry about in relationship to my mother that I didn't even ask where or how they got married. I don't remember even having a concept of what that looked like. The first wedding I ever attended was somebody in my babysitter's family, one of her sisters, when they got married in a big church wedding, and I would have been really little, like 5. And so I hadn't been to a lot of weddings. The next one was my aunt's, which was after my mother was married to these men. Well, the first one, I don't even know. Yeah. I can't remember how old I was when my aunt got married the second time. Not the one who called me the liar, the one that I thought would be on my side, who, as it turns out, was never on my side. But anyway, so that's the story of my mother's marriages. I don't know how she met them. I do think that she likely lined up my second stepfather while she was with my first stepfather. I think there was definitely some crossover there. I know she was playing the victim of my first stepfather and spreading rumors around him, smear campaigning him. And I was living in the house, and I think she was trying to make it like he was violent and things like that. And that was not the case. If she really believed he was violent, then she wouldn't have gone on trips all the time, shopping trips, breaking the bank and all of that, leaving me in his care. And nobody questions, how facts and things don't line up. It's insane to me how blindly obedient these cult family systems are. And that's why, the person who usually leaves that system is the scapegoat. They escape because they can't tolerate the way that they're being treated anymore. And we get to an age and stage in life where we have other experiences and realize that we don't have to be treated that way anymore. So that's anyway, going off on a side note there. Thank you for being here. And thank you for sharing my grief with me. I appreciate you.